Somewhere in your kitchen right now, there might be a tin of powder you mix into your child's milk every morning. You probably don't remember exactly why you started. Maybe a doctor mentioned it once. Maybe an ad convinced you your child was falling behind. Maybe your own mother did the same thing for you. I spent 18 years inside pharma, health tech, and FMCG marketing teams, and for 2 of those years I worked on a children's nutrition brand. One that started as a genuine medical intervention for malnourished kids and became a category worth hundreds of millions of dollars, sold largely to parents whose children were completely healthy. I'm going to tell you exactly how that happened. Not to scare you, just to show you the machinery. Same category of product to urban middle-class parents whose children were, by every clinical measure, growing normally. The product didn't really change. The story around it did. That gap between who the product was designed for and who it eventually got sold to is where my job lived. When I joined the brand team, the honest internal conversation was never, how do we help malnourished children? That problem was mostly solved for our buyer base. The internal conversation was, how do we grow the category? Here's what that actually looked like in a planning meeting. We didn't have a malnutrition problem to solve anymore in our core cities, so we went looking for a different anxiety, one that already existed in every parent, healthy child or not. Is my child growing fast enough, tall enough, strong enough compared to other kids? That anxiety is universal. It doesn't require malnutrition. It just requires a parent who loves their child and wants them to do well. So the brief shifted. Instead of nutrition for deficiency, the message became nutrition for potential. Height charts appeared in ads, not medical growth charts, but idealized ones. Words like taller, stronger, sharper replaced words like deficiency and recovery. We ran category-building research that asked mothers things like, do you worry about your child's height compared to classmates? A question almost every parent will answer yes to, regardless of whether their child has any actual nutritional gap. We weren't lying about ingredients. The product still had real vitamins in real doses. What we were doing was something subtler. We were quietly making a product designed for the 10% of children with genuine deficiency feel essential to the 90% who didn't need it. So how do you actually do that? There's a repeatable playbook, and once you see it, you'll notice it everywhere. Not just in nutrition, but in almost every category built on parental anxiety. Step 1. Borrow the authority of the original clinical use case. The brand's early years treating real malnutrition gave it a halo of medical credibility. That credibility doesn't expire when the target buyer changes. It gets inherited by every new campaign, even ones aimed at healthy children. Step 2. Widen the benchmark. Instead of children below the medical threshold for stunted growth, the comparison quietly shifts to children below average height for their class, or children who aren't in the top percentile. Almost every child falls short of some benchmark if you choose the right one. That's not fraud. The data point is technically real. It's just the wrong data point for the claim being made. Step 3. Sell the feeling, not the metric. Nobody buys 12% RDA of vitamin B6. They buy, I'm doing everything I can for my child. The functional claim is a Trojan horse for the emotional one. Once a parent feels that giving the product is what a good, attentive parent does, the actual clinical justification becomes almost irrelevant to the purchase decision. Step 4. Make the absence of the product feel like a risk, not a neutral choice. We didn't need to prove the product worked dramatically. We just needed parents to feel that not giving it might mean missing out on something. Height, focus, immunity, that they'd regret later. Fear of doing too little is a much stronger driver than the promise of doing more. Step 5. Repeat until it becomes a category norm. Once enough brands run this playbook, giving your child a nutrition supplement stops being a marketing message and starts being a cultural default. Something good parents just do. At that point, you don't even need to persuade anymore. You just need to remind. None of these 5 steps required a single false claim on the label. That's what makes this playbook so effective and so hard to regulate. It works entirely in the space between what's technically true and what's actually necessary. I want to be careful here because I'm not telling you the product is harmless nonsense, and I'm not telling you every parent who buys it is being fooled. A vitamin isn't going to hurt a healthy child. That's not the point. The point is this: almost nothing you buy for your child is being sold to you on the strength of the evidence alone. It's being sold to you on the strength of a feeling, usually some version of, will I regret not doing this, with the evidence used afterward to make that feeling feel rational. Once you can see that mechanism, you don't have to reject every product that uses it. You just get to ask a much better question before you buy. What specific problem does my child actually have? And does this solve that problem? Or does it just solve my anxiety about that problem? Those are two very different purchases. Only one of them needs a tin of powder. I've spent 18 years on the inside of rooms like this. Big pharma, health tech, FMCG, watching how need gets manufactured, one category at a time. I'm going to keep unpacking these playbooks here, one industry at a time, without the outrage and without the sales pitch. If this changed how you'll read the next parenting ad you see, that's really the only metric that matters to me. Subscribe if you want the next one. I'll be back with how the same playbook shows up in children's immunity supplements, and why that one's a little more complicated.